Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So basically I am going to share my experience of the SDE journey and more about its learning with me and grow with me. And yes, the name itself shows frustrated, not shyer. This time it's frustrated developer. So let's start. So today's topic is the fast API, how we fast implement the fast API with the SQLAlchemy database. Okay, so let's start. So basically first what we do to go to the command line, CMD, it's a shortcut, and now we see that there is any folder over there, and if not then cd go to that folder and then see the data is in this or not, then make one folder over there, for example mkdir as the command for creating new folder. And so we are creating new folder for our fast API named as FastAPI underscore SQL alch, the short form. So now we move to that folder, cd and FastAPI underscore SQL alch, go to that. Okay, so now we do code space dot, which automatically opens the same folder in the Visual Studio Code. So yeah, let's start, and we will start it with creating the folders in that. So first we create the app folder in that, then we will create some txt requirement txt file, and then we will move forward. Okay, so not py, it will be the txt file. So I'll change it, the name of that, the txt file. Okay, so yeah, now we create files in our app folder. First one is main.py file, and then the db.py for the database. Then we will add api.py for the API routing, and then we add a file of models.py for creating the database tables. Then we write schemas.py. Schemas.py basically for the how the request data will show and the response data will show. And then we do a private file, that is init.py, which is also known as constructor over there, which is useful for creating the application. And lastly the crud.py, in which we will write the business logic of our code. So let's begin with the db.py, where we create the connection. Okay, let's first we need to create the virtual environment. So why virtual environment is important? Because this is the Visual Studio Global. If we create any dependency over there without creating the virtual environment, so we will be just doing that we are installing the dependency all over the project, all over the Visual Studio, but we only want for these dependencies only for this our project. So first we create a virtual environment. The command is python -m when we this will create a virtual environment. This will take some time. It will take 2 to 3 seconds or 5 seconds depending on your Windows specification. So let's wait and hope for the best. Okay, so here's when we folder is created. Let's wait for some more seconds. Okay, now when we folder is created, inside which scripts is created, inside which activate ps file is there. So now we have to activate this. Basically we have to run this activate.ps1 file. So we will go to current directory, then then move to scripts, then activate.ps, and then we will run it like this. Okay, so now we are inside the virtual environment. Now we will move forward with installing the dependency. Dependency is basically the platform on which this project will run. Like we have to install FastAPI, and we require the SQLAlchemy or the UVCon. UVCon is basically the platform where we will run our GUI FastAPI. Then the Pydantic models. Basically here we use .env. Okay, so enter, and this will install all the dependencies which require for our project. So let's wait for some seconds. Okay, so it is installing. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5, and here we go. Okay, it is taking some time because of multiple server. Okay, yeah, it's ready. So now we'll clear the screen and then move forward with the installing the we install Postgre for the database. Okay, for Postgre we write psycopg, and what's the command? I think it's 2. Yeah, so yeah, we are and get the Postgre. Now clear the screen and move forward with writing our code. So let's take the first step by creating the instance in the DB, that is creating the connection. So create SQLAlchemy database connection. Okay, so let's go. So from SQLAlchemy, import create engine, and then from SQLAlchemy.orm import session maker, and then declarative class. So basically session maker is used for the creating one instance of the database, and declarative base has its own significance for creating the base. So here we are defining the URL like this, and it's basically the syntax. You don't need to learn it, you will find each and everywhere. So this is just typically the syntax for how to do the database URL and create it. And this is the testp db. It's just the database name. You can modify as according to you. Now we are creating the connection by the create engine by providing database URL in that, then connect arcs. This is also the basically what we need in this. Check same thread, and basically for avoiding the multi-threading, is equals to false. And yes, now we can create the local session local, and it's come from session maker. Then we will do the auto flush equal to false. We don't need auto flush. Then we don't need the auto commit also, so auto commit equals to false. And then we will bind the engine, bind our engine, that will create the database connection. Okay, now we will do the base, declarative base, which basically create the connection between your DB with your application. Okay, now moving forward by creating the models, that is database tables. So session maker, you will understand the engine, what is database through URL and everything. Now we will move forward by creating the models, which is responsible for the database tables. Okay, so create models, database tables. Now we are creating one employee. So from SQLAlchemy, import the column, then the integer, the data types we need, the string, and from database import base from .db current db. We are importing the base, basically the connection. So we are creating one table like we can name it employee. Yeah, don't take users. So employee we are taking from base, and then give the table name underscore table name underscore equals to employees. Okay, now we are giving the id. So id equals to column, then integer. We will set the primary key equals to true, and then also we add the indexing, index equals to true. Now we will take the emp name for employee name, storing the employee name. Emp underscore name is equals to column underscore string. We will take it as a string, and string, and since this name will be unique, so we are first giving the index and then the employee. Okay, employee email, we'll take it as a column, then string unique because email will be unique, true. Okay, and putting the indexing, index equals to true, and then we will do the employee position. So not position, right, emp underscore pos is equals to column. We will take it as a string, capital S, not a small, capital S. Oh, I think I have done the upper emp email as a string. I'll change it, take it as no unique required, so giving only index here, index equals to true, and the upper string will be converted into capital string. Okay, so we are done with the models. We have created a table. Then we will move forward to create the pydantic schemas. So what is pydantic? It's basically for the data validation providing by the FastAPI or the pydantic module. So from pydantic, import base model, and using this base model we will define our schemas. Schemas basically how our request and response will be shown. So class employee base inherit from base model, then we'll give the emp name as a string, then emp email as a string, and same goes for emp pos, that is emp position, also as string. Okay, so now create the model for the emp position, creating another schema for the create employee. How when we create the employee, request will be shown. So in employee create employee base, like it will take the schema of upper, so we will pass it. Pass basically require like you don't need to write now implementation. After some time you will have to implement, then pass the pass variable over there. Then employee show, it will return the employee on the basis of the employee ID or the basically what filter you will use, it will revert you back. So here we do the ID as int. Now we define the class config. Okay, so now we'll do the class config, which is required for ORM, like object relation mapping. I'll make other videos by explaining more detail what is ORM and what all the things I'm talking. So ORM mode equals to true. Now it's ready. Now we will move forward to write the business logic over the CRUD. So now we will need to remove this. Okay, so now we are writing the business logic. Okay, so here from SQLAlchemy.orm we are importing the session, which will in result creating the database connection session, and from current directory import models and schemas. Then we are defining a function def create employee and passing the session db session, then user or the employee, you can say MP, and schemas how it will show like employee create, which we have created in the schemas. Right now we will write like db underscore emp is equals to models dot employee. So basically it is giving the converting the request which will come from the user, and it will convert it into model, then into from the dictionary to the model to that particular dictionary emp dot text. So it will convert into the dictionary. Okay, now we will add this employee db dot add db underscore emp, then db dot commit, we are committing our change, and then refresh the database db dot refresh db underscore emp. Okay, now we'll return the db underscore emp. So this is for the create employee. Now we will go for creating get employee. Def get emp db session. Now we are adding pagination. Skip the filtration basically int equal to 0, and we are giving the limit as int equals to 10, and then returning the return db dot query. What we are returning employee, so models dot employee. Okay, and now we are setting the limit offset and the skip part and dot limit. Okay, and we have to take all the data, so dot all. Okay, so the business logic is done. Now we will move towards the routing. So we have to give api.py now. So at routing, so from FastAPI, not like this. No, what's happening? Okay, so from FastAPI import the API router. We need depends and later on HTTP exception. Okay, so from SQLAlchemy.orm object relation mapping, import the session that is required for the DP, and from the current directory import the CRUD in which our business logic is written, the schemas and models. So and from .db we import session local. Okay, so it's good. Now move forward. We are creating the API router instance. Router is equals to API router. Then we are defining the database. Define get underscore db no underscore. Okay, underscore, and then passing db equals to creating the session local session we have created, and if the session is created, then yield the db, and finally close the connection db dot close. Okay, so done from the database. We have created and established the connection between the app and the database. Okay, now move forward with routing part. So router router dot post emp, and we are giving this path or the endpoint, whatever you want to say according to your interest. Then we are adding the response model, how our response will be looked. So schemas dot employee show, what we have given in the schemas. Okay, now we are creating create emp, then emp, we will take the input as schemas.employee create. Okay, then we are giving the db session, which will depends on the get underscore db function, not db, it's get underscore db. Okay, fine. So then we'll return the CRUD dot, which we have written the business logic, create employee, passing the db connection and the employee emp. Then we are writing the getting router dot get, and passing the emp will get it like this. Response model will be the list of the employees. So list, not double, list of employee schemas, not employees. We have to take it from the schemas. Oh, schemas dot employee show. Okay, so now we are writing the logic control set. Okay, go. So creating the function def get emp skip int 0, then limit as limit int equals to 10. Then we are giving the db session, and this db session depends on the get underscore db. Right. So now return the CRUD dot get emp. Okay, now db, passing the db session, skip, then limit. Okay, so it's ready. We have written the code in the API routing. Now we will move forward to the main, that is the main entry point from which all the application will run. So from FastAPI, import FastAPI, from current directory import models, and from database .db import engine, and from .api import router as user emp underscore router. Okay, now we'll write models dot base dot metadata dot create all, then binding our engine. So this is responsible for creating all the tables. Then we are creating the instance of the FastAPI, that is app equals to FastAPI, and then we will include the router. So FastAPI like this. Why is showing the warning? I think rewriting once again it will solve the problem. So yeah, remove this and rewrite once again. FastAPI. Yes. Yeah, it works. App.include underscore router and including the MEMP router. Okay, then adding the prefix API. Okay. So this is our whole code. First we write the entry point. We are starting from the DB. We have written the DB code. Then we have gone to meet the models. Then we have schemas, how request shown. Then we write the business logic in the crud.py. It's basically the layering we have included. Then we have write the routing over the API.py, and then the last part, that is the main entry point, we have written. Now we will run this application by uvcon. Open the terminal, uvcon app:/app.main: app --reload. Okay. So yeah, FastAPI has a UI, that is Swagger, and control and click the URL 127.0.0.1. okay, click on the URL right now and we will see this one. Okay, and we'll go to the docs, which will show the Swagger UI. Okay, so here you have two APIs, getEMP and the createEMP. First we try the getEMP, putting 1, so there is no data. Then first we have to create the data, so by putting the name Anuj S Yadav, employee email anuj@gmail.com, employee position ST1. okay, fine. Yeah, one object is created and the response code is 200. That is success. Creating one more employee, shiv@gmail.com, position SRE1, execute, and it will create another employee. Okay, let's try and add one more. MP name Noor, and okay, let's do it with Mohat, and mohat@gmail.com, position ST1, execute, and yeah, so 3 employees have created. Now we'll check the get employee API. We have given the 1 offset, put it at 2 and we'll get 2 employees. Yeah, okay, put it at 3, not 2, 3, and execute it. Okay, so we have 3 models. So yeah, we have done the application. Now we will see how it will show in the database. So you may have the DB SQLite download app downloaded in your system, and search for SQLite. You will find the DB browser, then click open database, browse your database file created sometimes in the same folder or in the DB. I've created in this, so yeah, here it is, and open it. So here you show all the information like employees table, AMP name, integer, varchar, and the indexes is created. You can browse the data, and yeah, you have the data. Now you can write the SQL query as well, like select star from employees, and you will get all the information of the employees. Run it, and here it is. So we can do it like operator as well. So emp name not equal to, I think we'll put it like percentage and run it. Okay, so something is wrong. Okay, so I think, yeah, it's a single query. I think single parenthesis will be required, single inverted, sorry. So like we are taking just examples, so put in the same name, and it says Yadav and Shitsi, yeah, it is. And we will search it like with the position also, so mp underscore pos with st. So there will be no data. Yeah, we have st1 data, so here it is. Okay, so this is all about the FastAPI with SQLAlchemy, and later on I'll provide you much more videos. So until then, keep learning, keep growing, and don't give up.